Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us for this Zoom video again for before Pesach, where we're going to try to again look at different strategies on how to have a very good Pesach this year, regardless of the situation. So one word that I wanted to first mention, we have mothers that are warriors, and they're also warriors. They're very strong, but they also worry a lot. So a word for these people, because I hear in the comment, people are sad that their children are not with them for Passover. They feel sad that their children are going to be by themselves. They feel sad. Sometimes it's the children that feel sad, bad for the parents being alone. And it's true, it's a difficult situation. But I want to tell you something. If you feel bad for somebody in your family, that in one way is a good thing. It's a good thing because it means you care for the person and you have a sound relationship with them. So on the one hand, it's a very good thing. But in another way, it's not good to worry about someone. Why? Because when you have feelings of sadness, of fear, of anxiety, of worry, it's not helping your loved one. You see, there's a lot of people, especially Jewish mothers, that think that if they don't worry, it means they don't care and they don't love their kids. But it's not true. I can tell you, you can love someone and not worry about them and not think that if you not rehashing all your bad thoughts about what could happen and what will happen, it will be beneficial. To worry about someone, it doesn't really help. You can care about someone, you can love someone, you can think of them, you can have them in your thoughts, you can wish them well, but for goodness sake, worry is not going to bring anything good except attract all the stuff that you're worrying about. So I suggest instead of worrying, when you think about your loved one, feel feelings of gratitude that even though the person is not together with you, at least you know they're in a safe place. Hopefully they're in good health. And that's right now the most important thing, because one of the main concept of Judaism is the sanctity of life itself. So we'll do everything and anything to keep someone alive and safe. No matter when it is, whether it's Yom Tov or Shabbos or anything, life takes precedence over everything. So feel gratitude if your loved one, even though they're not with you, at least they are in good health. And in the event that the person you're thinking about is sick, instead of worrying about them and having bad thoughts about them and what wrong could go, anything wrong that could go on with them, instead of that, I would highly recommend you picture them in your mind healthy again, in your arms, in good health. And if you think of them in that way, it will be much more beneficial for them than worrying about them. All right, so that was a little note that I wanted to share with you. Another note that I wanted to share with the people that are going to be for 3 days alone and staying by themselves, it is very, very possible, due to the lack of going out, activity, social gathering, it is very possible you're going to be confined to a very small space. Even if you are living in a large home, it's still one space. You might have a tendency of going from one bed to the couch to a chair to another couch to another bed, or the same bed again. But what I want to say, and it's very, very important, you're going to have 3 days of this. it's extremely important that you exercise, that you do some physical activity. I don't care what it is. You want to do sit-up, you want to do jump rope, you want to go up and down a chair, you want to do somersaults, whatever it is you want to do, but it's extremely important that you do some physical activity, even if you're not going out. There is, that I know, no contradiction with halacha about doing exercise. Exercise is something that healthy people do, and unless you're doing a melacha with your own body, you can actually walk, run, jump, sit up, whatever exercise, yoga, whatever it is that you want. This is not something that is a refuah. It is healthy people and just maintenance of your body. So you can do it, and I highly recommend that you do it every day, no matter when, even if it's not Yom Tov, but especially on these 3 days of Yom Tov, it is very, very important. Another thing, okay, first of all, because you don't want your body to feel, bad. If your body is not in good shape, your spirit has a tendency to follow along that slope. So it's very important to keep your body in good shape. Number 2, when your body is activated, it increases your level of serotonin, and you're going to feel happier. Plain and simple, plain and simple. So that's extremely important to keep up your good spirit during the holiday. Remember, a holiday is Chag Sameach. We wish everybody Chag Sameach, Chag Sameach. But remember, in order to be happy, your body has to activate also a little bit. And because you're going to be by yourself, there's going to be a tendency to go to sleep. If you sleep a lot because there's nothing to do, there's nobody to talk to, everything is boring to you or whatever, I hope it won't, but just in case, if that happened, that could bring on depression. It could bring on some sadness of spirit because the body is not moving and you just feel not good about anything. So remember, physical activity is going to be extremely important. And yeah, you can do any kind of thing you want. You can jump around when you do Hallel. You can do whatever it is you want. It's very, very important. What else did I want to say? Oh, yes. You're going to be for 3 days on your own, okay? So I want you to be careful now how you're going to monitor yourself. Because especially after the first night, if you're the person that drinks wine, it's very possible you're going to have a hangover the next morning, and therefore you're not going to feel good and you're not going to feel in good shape. Do not take this as a sadness or depression. It's just the result of having a hangover, and recognize that and knows that it will pass until the next morning when you have drunk again the second night. But in the meantime, just be aware of where you're holding on your level of simcha. So notice where the feelings of sadness are coming from. They could be not from sadness, could be just hangover. So get yourself coffee, move along, put some ice on your forehead, whatever you need to do to get rid of this. And yeah, keep on being aware of your thing. Could also, if you are eating a lot of sugar, you can have a crash after the sugar level goes down. So it's not that you're feeling sad. There's nothing wrong going on. It's just that your body is not getting what it needs to function at the optimum level. All right. So make sure to differentiate between sadness and hangover, crashing after sugar, and all that kind of thing. All right. So another thing that I wanted to share with you today is Pesach. So we talked about Pesach. What is Pesach about? We said about the need to talk to ourselves and understand ourselves, and to ask ourselves questions, at least 4 questions. On Passover, we have a very specific diet. it's what is this diet like? It's like a patient who is just beginning to display the first indication of recovering from an illness that was the doctors are diagnosed as being both fatal and incurable. And now the patient, lo and behold, the miracle happens. And after all this time, there's a recovery. So there's been, imagine like a whole nation enslaved and in bad shape, extremely bad shape. And all of a sudden now there is a turn around and it's starting to get better. But it's starting to get better and it's very slow. And you have to be very careful when things change. So very slowly, because that person, let's say we're talking now about a person, not a nation, because that person is very sick, he must take great effort to protect himself. And so on Passover, this is what we do. We just came out of a period where things were really, really messed up. And that's why I say this period in time nowadays, you can really feel that there is a reset button. For whatever reason, things were not in right order. Parents were not having relationship with their kids. People were not communicating with each other. People were spending time doing things that are just pastime but not beneficial to themselves in the long run. And now all of a sudden everybody is stuck in a place where these things are not available more or less anymore. So there is a reset button. So after this beginning recovery and this a transition period, so we are now in the stage of Passover. And this stage of Passover, we are avoiding contact with leavened bread because the leavened bread is symbolic to our dark sides. It's symbolic to the Yetzer Hara and symbolic to the bad stuff that we have inside of us. And you know that we clean a lot before Pesach. Yes, we clean, we look for chametz. We even put little pieces just to make sure that we're not saying, oh, we're such a saint person, there's nothing in us that needs to be fixed. So we put these little 10 pieces there to humble ourselves in case we would think we're such saints or tzaddikim. But in any case, so we are now looking for the leavened bread. We are now searching for this dark side inside of us. And the recovery period, the transition period, when we're starting to really change, we have to get rid of it completely. Not forever, but for the time being, yes. And so in order to get rid of the chametz, one first has to know what is the chametz, what does it consist of? So this dark side of us, we very often don't give it the mic. We very often just shuffle it, push it away, ignore it, and it just stays there. And as leaven, you know what leaven means, it just grows, keeps growing. So even though you don't see it grow, it does grow somewhere inside your mind, inside your heart, in your neshama. It's getting it messed up a little bit on the surface only, of course. But in order, in order to get rid of the chametz on our dark side, we have to know first what it is. And so today, because usually our dark side are just ignored and we just pretend it doesn't exist, what we're going to do today, we're going to write what is called a crap board. I'll tell you, if you are now listening to this, take a piece of paper and we're going to follow along and do it together, but take something to write with. So again, I had a neighbor who used to tell me, if you don't know where the dirt is, you can't go and clean it. You have to know where it is in order to get rid of it, right? So instead of saying, okay, let's say positive things and ignore the bad stuff, we're going to look at the stuff, look at it and clean up. Clean up. Okay. But first, okay, so the point of Pesach again is not to eat bread all year long. Okay, so that exercise we're going to do is just an exercise, but we need to do it in order to identify the dark side of us, to watch it for a while, like we have Pesach, 7 days, and then feel better, and then have a better relationship with our whole self, have a better relationship, and feel good in our neshama on the level that is always pure, and to have a better relationship with the source of life and with what we the most connected with, which is Hashem. So what we need to do is look at one thing in order to reach an equilibrium and a balance. So let's go to our crab board. Take a big piece of paper. If you don't have time to write as I'm doing this video, you can always pause the video when I'll post it. But you take your time to write as much as you want, all right? So we're going to be very authentic today. Remember, it's just you, and there's nobody else watching. You're by yourself. So allow yourself the luxury of being extremely authentic. All right. So here we go for our crab board. The crab board, first of all, let me tell you that what CRAP stands for. So CRAP, which is something that has been designed by Mark Waldman, so I'm very grateful to him for teaching us this process. The CRAP board goes like this. You put in it, CRAP are initials of conflicts, R is for resistance, A is for anxiety, and P is for imaginary problem. So this is why it's called CRAP. Conflict, resistance, anxiety, and imaginary problems. So there's all kinds of crap going on. There's boring crap, useless crap, total crap, more crap, other crap, crappy crap. There's all kinds of crap going on. But what we want to do is like this. There's 4 steps. The first step is to recognize and to know what it is. Just like if there is dirt, you want to know that it's dirt, okay? If you don't know that it's dirt, maybe it's grease that you need for the good functioning of the machine, you don't want to take it off. But if it's grease that's just lying there being dangerous or doing nothing, we want to get rid of it. So first we have to recognize all this stuff that is going on. So please take your paper, and on it, I would like you to do this thing. Put all your conflict in it. And the way you put them in is not by writing a whole Megillah about it and a lengthy, dissertation. Just a very few words. All right? Just a few words. So conflicts, and again, I am not going to take the time now to have the video, and wait until you finish writing. If you need to write, you can pause and keep on writing, but I'm just going to keep on going ahead explaining the process here. So we have conflicts. Conflicts, you write them. There's a lot of conflicts. Anytime there's something that goes against your inner being, you are in conflict. All right? So write your conflict in a couple words. That's all you need to know. That's all you need. You know what the conflict is. You just write down what you're thinking about. All right? And write about 5 of them. You don't need to write 25 or just one. Just write 5 of them. And then resistance. Resistance is something else. It's very similar to conflict. But we have resistance. We know we need to do something, but we are not doing it. That's called resistance. We know it's good for us. We know we should be doing it. We're not doing it. We're fighting it. And write about 5 of them, 3, 4, 5 of them. Again, just a few words. The next thing we're going to write is the anxiety. So the anxiety, think about anything that makes you nervous. If you are a permanent anxious person, this one is going to be full. But everybody has anxiety about something. If you can't find anything, maybe death is one of them. And then now you can write problems, all the imaginary problems, the problems that didn't happen yet, the problems you anticipate, especially now in the situation, everybody's thinking all the worst thing possible that's going to happen because nobody ever thought we'd come to this stage where everything is shut down. So you are now imagining problems. They haven't happened yet. Maybe some of them started, but not all of them. So write down the problems. All right. Okay, so that was the phase of recognizing, writing it all down on the crap board. All right. The next thing that I would like you to do is like this. And remember, Pesach is a time where we talk to ourselves, we understand ourselves. It's a time where we do things to liberate ourselves. And if you don't have time to do this now, remember, you can do it in your mind over Yom Tov. This is a good exercise to just go over and see where we're going with this liberation from all the crap. So reframe. In other words, sometimes you're thinking about a situation and you have it framed in the worst possible manner. How about you reframe it? All right? Or you have a situation that you're not looking at future situation, but you're looking at past situation and you're looking at them as a really terrible experience, and they could be seen from a different angle because you don't know everything about everything. So we are trying now to reframe. We recognize the problems and all the crap. Now we're trying to reframe the situation. And so go over the list, and this you can do it over Yom Tov. But what I want to say is like this, writing it down, all the crap, you can do that now. And then on Yom Tov, you'll do three things actually. The first thing is going to be to reframe all these things that you wrote down and see if that's the only way to look at it. You don't know for sure. Do you know for sure? Is it really true? And so this is the question that, of course it's true. Of course, I'm telling you it's true. Not necessarily. You don't know. We don't know for sure. It hasn't happened. So let's reframe situation. You might have thought, gee, this happened in my childhood, and this is how I looked at it all this time. And then you talk to your parents, and lo and behold, you realize this is not what you thought. But nobody ever told you because you never asked. And if you don't have information, you don't know. And even if you know something, it could be seen from a different point of view. All right? So the third thing that we want to do is release. And the releasing goes like this. The release is a physical release where you're going to do movement to actually pretend the situation, it's somewhere around you, somewhere in your hand or somewhere in front of you or in a ball or in an object, and you're going to physically take that ball or that object or balloon or whatever it is and physically throw it away, spin it around, and get rid of it. That's the release. And as you're doing this, you're telling yourself, this crap is inside and I'm releasing it. All right? And the last thing that in that process of getting ourselves free of all the chametz is to retrain. Because once you got rid of the bad stuff, usually it comes back because you're just used to it. So now you have to take